Indifference is more dangerous than anger and hatred.
Indifference.
This is no time for apathy.
Apathy.
Instead, it should be a time for action.
The most terrible diseases of all, indifference.
The greatest evil of all, apathy.
Profound quotes.
Apathy.
Is
Rhys James isn't.
Oh, thanks. Had a weird start to the year. At the start of the year, I was asked to speak at my school. I don't still go there. I was asked to return to my old school in an email, no less, and give a speech to the Year 11s to inspire the Year 11s, because apparently a lot of those 16-year-olds want to be just like me when they're 17. So they said, come back, Rhys, come back, give a speech and inspire the Year 11s. And I said no, because if you're one of those pricks who goes back to your school to give a speech to the Year 11s, you've got to be famous, OK? You need to be so famous. You need to be able to walk through the playground and have all the kids go, oh, my God, it's Ryan Giggs. You know, if I go back to my old school, I'm going to walk through the playground and they're going to go, oh, look, it's a new boy. But I'm jealous of them as well. I'm jealous of the 16, 17-year-olds, you know, because they've all got opinions now, that young generation. I didn't have that back in my day. I don't have any now. They've all got opinions. They're also passionate. They're also politically engaged. I don't have any opinions. You got any opinions, sir?
No.
Well, you've come to the right show. I can tell that you've got opinions, but I don't want to go down that road. Thank you, sir. Not in the first episode, anyway. I don't have any opinions, man. There's been times in my life when I've thought I've had an opinion. Loads of times I've thought I've got an opinion, right? Then I've said that opinion to someone and they've passionately disagreed with me and I've been like, oh, yeah, actually, I think that. Can I have that? Can I have that one? Are you done with that? Good night. Are you finished with that? But I do that all the time. I just nick opinions off other people. I mean, it's a good job I've never really been at a party with, like, a really charismatic fascist. You know, I'm just coming home like, time to make some changes around here. Thing is, for ages, right, I thought you didn't need opinions, right? For ages I had this trick, and it still does technically work, right? And that is this, right? If you're speaking to someone, and they're talking really passionately at you for ages, right, they're really ramming home a point or something, and you've zoned out, you've not been listening for like 10 minutes, you can get away with that 100% of the time these days by just going, yeah, well, in the current climate. That's what you got to say. That works 100% of the time. But I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous of these people having opinions. I wish I had opinions so much. I need opinions now, because now people are angry at apathy. People would rather that you disagreed with them than you didn't care, right? I am occasionally on the BBC sitcom Mock the Week. It's a sitcom, by the way. And occasionally I'm on that. And I got a tweet once. I got a couple of tweets when I was on it once. I'd done a joke, and it wasn't particularly political. And then I got 2 tweets at the exact same time, right? And one of them said, typical humourless BBC lefty snowflake. And the other one said, unfunny Tory boy with a thin nose. What's interesting about that, though, is I just thought, isn't it amazing to get those 2 tweets at the exact same time, just to represent how biased everyone is, right? Isn't it amazing that I can do one line that's not even political, and 2 people on such opposite sides of the spectrum can come together in the mutual belief that I'm not funny? You know, isn't that So that's what this show is, right? I'm going to be trying on opinions like clothes, seeing what fits, see how they feel. I'm going to be doing both sides of the coin as well, both sides of the argument, you know, seeing what my opinions can become. That's the aim of this show. Right, I'm doing it on both sides, right, because I'm not at a position in my career where I can afford to alienate half of my audience, OK? So I'll be trying on both sides. Also, I don't want to commit to anything too early in life. You know, I might change my mind down the line. You know, I might think one thing now, but who knows how I feel in the future about these issues. I've already done a pretty big U-turn on olives. So who knows in the future what I'm going to think. That's why I don't want to commit. What I'm saying is, I need you to remove your bias, OK? That's what I need you to do. Just ignore your bias, right? A lot of these shows, you have to come on and the comedian has to say, oh, these are not the views of the BBC, these views are my own. These aren't even mine, OK? I don't know what these views are. They're just views. They just exist.
The environment.
They're great, that generation. They're amazing. 16 and 17-year-olds now. They're so passionate, you know, and it's because of the environment. That's what's got them all politically engaged. They're all into the environment. Do we care about the environment? OK, did we go on a march? Oh, good to see you care about the environment from your centrally heated homes. Good to see. Right, this is the left-wing episode, all right? Bear that in mind. We've got to do something about the environment, man. It's messed up. We've got to fix it. The weather's gone crazy. It was so hot in the summer, wasn't it? The heat wave, it was ridiculous. It was so hot at one point in the summer that I genuinely saw a man fanning himself with his own sandwich in between bites. Like, that is too hot. There's little steps we can take for the environment, aren't there? We all know the things we're supposed to do, we're just not doing it. But there's things we can do, like switching to a plant-based diet. That's what we're meant to do now. But you've got to expect baby steps, OK? You can't expect us to do this all immediately, because that's a big change. So I'm trying to do baby steps, trying to do little things, you know, like I've cut out chicken nuggets. That's a big step for me. No, it's a big step, OK? 3 months ago, I saw the first march. I was like, yep, no more nugs. That's what I decided, OK? I'm going nugless from now on. That was my choice. And I'm smashing it. It's been 3 months, not had a single nugget. I'm doing so well. Slight confession, I'm eating a lot of goujons. Like, twice as many goujons. And they've got way more real chicken in them than nuggets anyway. It's a disaster for the planet. I thought we'd solved it with the bags. When we started charging for the plastic bags, I thought it was done. I thought the bags had solved it. Right, but it hasn't, has it? Because it's not enough of a deterrent, is it, 10p, really? Right, 10p for a bag. It's not a big enough deal when you're at the checkout and you haven't got your canvas bag and they go, oh, do you want a plastic bag for 10p? You're like, well, what's the alternative? I just eat all this now. Yes, I want a bag. Oh, what's for dinner? Cauliflower, mustard and Dettol. Yes, I need a bag, please. And also, the environmentalists, they always say, oh, it has helped, charging 10p because the plastic bag usage is way down. It's like, it's not way down. It's just that statistic comes from the amount of people who press no bag on the self-checkout. And it's a nation of liars. That's what's happened. My local Sainsbury's have added a second screen that says, but really, though? Straight after you've done it. We've got to change it. 10p is not enough, right? It's not enough of a deterrent. We've got to make it more of a deterrent. I propose that we get rid of the 10p charge and instead we make the bags free, but we put little slogans on the bag that make the person holding it look bad. That's what I reckon. So on it, it just says, I stole this bag from a blind homeless man. Or like, free sweets for the under nines. You know, stuff like that. And everyone's trying to help, supposedly, all these companies. Starbucks have said you can get 10p off your coffee now if you take in a reusable cup and don't use one of their paper cups. You get 10p off. And now Starbucks have the moral high ground over all of us. Starbucks have the moral high... Starbucks, who rip off how many South American coffee bean farmers an hour? And then make up for it by having a big canvas print of that coffee bean farmer on their wall. Like some sort of trophy hunter with a moose head. It's ridiculous. And Costa as well, they're in on it, Costa. They're saying the same thing, 10p off your coffee if you bring in a reusable cup. Because we care about the environment at Costa, we care about the planet. Yeah, if you care about the planet, Costa, why are your receipts the size of a duvet? Get a grip. But it is handy having that 10p, because you can use that 10p and buy a plastic bag in Sainsbury's. So it is all right. I'm here with Dr. Matt Winning, who's a doctor of the Earth.
Yes.
Is that true?
I am a doctor. I have a PhD in climate change policy.
So you're an expert?
Yes, absolutely.
Big-time expert on the environment.
Yeah.
Would you say that we're not doing enough? People aren't doing enough to save the planet?
I'd say not only are we not doing enough, we're doing the wrong stuff and still making it worse.
What about if we put solar panels on wind turbines?
Yeah.
Is there any point in that? I mean, they're powered by the wind.
The thing is, often you don't get sunny and windy places at the same time.
But that's what I mean. So when the wind isn't happening,
right,
they're getting it from the sun.
So it's really sunny and there's
no wind. So that means it's a waste to have the wind turbine,
yeah.
Right? So then you put solar panels on it for when it's not windy, and then it's sunny. You get that. You get best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds.
Best of both. It'd be like 50-50 Kingsmill.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that sounds alright.
That would actually work? Oh, great.
I mean, I'm not like, I need to look into it a little bit, but I think that's a pretty smart idea to me.
Thing is, right, the reason that not all of you cheered when I said, do we care about the environment? The reason that not everyone is urgently desperate to fix this thing is because it's got a huge branding problem. When it first started out, it was called the ozone layer, wasn't it? It was about fixing the ozone layer. Now, that sounds like the safe area in a laser quest. That is not at all threatening to me. Then it was about greenhouse gases, which feels like a Snoop Dogg lyric. And then it went to global warming, which sounds genuinely lovely. And then... it was climate change, and we're all scared of change, but that's too abstract to get on board with. And now they're trying to peddle extreme weather. Extreme weather. That's what they're saying. It sounds like it's written on the bottom of a snowboard. We can't get on board. Extreme weather. You've heard of weather. Have you tried weather? That makes no sense to me. Extreme weather. That's not enough. We need something more, don't we? We need something that implies impending doom. We need to rebrand it. It should be called Sky Murder. Or Freeze Boil. And I admire the kids so much, out there on their Sky Murder marches. I admire them so much they're out there marching against Sky Murder all the time. It's incredible to see the kids doing that. That's why the generation is so good, because they're so engaged. They're out there marching. And all these parents, all these middle-aged people saying, oh, yeah, they're just doing it so they can get a day off school. Fair enough. That shows initiative, OK? I respect that as well. If I was their age, right, I'd have taken the day off school and not gone, right? And they've actually gone. They've turned up. Fair play. In my day, we had snow days. Now the planet's so hot, you've got to protest a lack of snow days. That's where we're at now. Fair enough to them.
So what about plastic straws?
If we're talking about climate change, no, it's not an issue.
So having those metal straws for life, pointless.
It's a good thing to do, but it's not going to solve much.
Really? So we could.
It's an issue for other things, in terms of its impact on warming our planet is minimal.
But if it's a good thing, should we do it with other stuff? Like on hen do's when they have the plastic dick straws, should we make metal dick straws for life?
Would be good.
And then or on a stag do when they take a blow-up woman around with them, scarecrows instead? Would that be easier?
Yeah.
And like a big dick made of hay?
They make a difference, but they're not going to make, big massive hay penises are not the solution to climate change. That's what I'm saying here.
Greta, their leader, Greta Thunberg. Do we like Greta Thunberg? Yeah, me too. I love Greta Thunberg in this episode. Just you wait for what's around the corner, let me tell you. She's amazing, Greta Thunberg. So inspirational. It's incredible, right? And people are getting angry at her. I mean, you're doing something right if you've wound up the middle-aged white men. Some of them are so angry. Not all of them, as I say, not all middle-aged people. But the only people that are angry at her are middle-aged. And what they're doing is they're trying to present her as a hypocrite. That's what they always do. They try and find something to say you're a hypocrite, right? But they've got nothing on her. They're desperately clutching at straws because she's 16. She's not done anything wrong. So they're going like, oh, yeah, you call yourself a vegan, but you've got pigtails. You don't know what to say. Oh, you care about CO2 emissions, but you'll breathe out. Their arguments are so flawed. They're desperately clutching at straws, and those straws are plastic and bad for the planet, famously,
So if changing our habits with plastic and stuff isn't going to make that big a difference, other than not flying, what are the things that humans can do to save the planet? Because shouldn't we all kill ourselves? If humans are contributing this much, we should all kill ourselves, right?
Well, yeah, I think becoming a serial killer is one option.
Yeah? Okay, so that does actually help. But okay, the problem with that is, how do you get rid of the bodies in a sustainable way? Because cremation, not an option. So what are you doing? What are the sustainable ways of disposing of bodies? This is important stuff.
How do we dispose of a body in a sustainable manner? You'd have to
feed it to someone, to something?
Yeah, I mean, I think feeding it to animals...
So not only should we all give up eating meat, we should also, when we do, feed ourselves to meat, to animals, to be sustainable.
I guess that would sort of, close the loop.
Yeah, so completely reverse the system, and that's the way to save the planet. So I guess you'd have sort of like funerals, you'd have it in a zoo, and then you just immediately feed it, chuck it into the lions.
I mean, that sounds horrific if little kids were going to the zoo and watching.
So, there we go. 3 policies that we've come up with that's going to save the planet are disco wind farms, straw hen-do penises, and funerals in local zoos. Will you write that up into a paper for us?
I don't know who's going to fund that.
But she's amazing, right? And I think I know why middle-aged people don't like Greta Thunberg, right? And that's because she makes their kids look shit. You can't brag about your kids with her on the scene, can you? This is parents in the playground stuff now, where they're like, oh, your son, is he, he's made the football team, has he? Little Lucas, he's made the football team. Oh, OK. My daughter is the face of the campaign to rescue this planet from the jaws of oblivion. But, good luck with your little kickabout, Lucas. Off you go. Oh, your son's just made his grade 4 cello, has he? Oh, congratulations. My daughter is the reason he might live to see grade 5.
I went to an Extinction Rebellion march, and a lot of people were doing performances there. Sort of performance poetry was a big part of it, so it inspired me, and I've written a poem if you'd like to hear it.
Yeah.
Mother Earth is crying. Salted tears keep sea levels rising. Mother Earth can't sleep as fires scream through the forest. Mother Earth heating so rapidly. Hot flushes and dryness, droughts across barren deserts forced to go without. Mother Earth is changing. From sun to storms, the mood swings raging as Mother Earth mourns her younger age while going through the climate change. We could be the solution and not the cause while Mother Earth goes through the menopause.
Did you have to print that?
Thank you for coming in.
Gender politics.
So they're trying to introduce new things, like they want to teach LGBT issues in school now, put that on the curriculum. Obviously, yes, they should do that, right? But if you ask me, they should go a step further, because they want to do it as LGBT studies, as a lesson on its own. I think, no, if you want to properly normalise it and make it feel like it's nothing to even acknowledge, then I think you've got to put it into other things. You should slide it into maths. That's what you should do. Right? Just make it part of the exams, completely normalise it. Just have... Jamie's dad has been spending an awful lot of time with his tennis instructor. Jamie's mum has grown suspicious. Calculate the probability that Jamie will have 2 Christmases from now on. You know, that's what you need. Slide it in. And the thing is, there are parents. Parents are concerned that it's going to turn you gay, right? Teaching boys about this isn't going to make them grow up and have sex with men. And I know that because I was taught about sex with women. Also, we need it, right? Think about the misunderstandings about what gay meant when you were at school. It was so confusing. We need kids to know what this means. When I was at school, you got called gay if you had your earring in the wrong ear, or if you had your watch on the wrong wrist, or if you had your keys in a Fiat 500. You know, all sorts of stuff. Also, what's the... Can we say that on the BBC? Other gay cars are available. Also, what's the logic of the parents who don't want to do it? What's the logic? So the logic is that you just hide it from them for 18 years till they become adults. Then they go into a world where gay people do exist, right, and they're accepted, and they'll be so shocked, right? If they've never seen this before, then they see it for the first time, it will be so surprising, they'll blow their minds. They won't know what to do. Imagine if you weren't taught about volcanoes, right, and then one day you turned on the news and saw a volcano erupted. You'd be like, sorry, did that hill just ejaculate? What is happening? And there are parents who are worried that you're going to be teaching this stuff too young because it involves talking about sex. There's no such thing as too young, if you ask me, with this sort of thing, you know. If a gay kid is told that he can be gay younger and then comes out earlier, that's great. Of course it's great. And also, parents don't have to worry about this stuff. They're not going to change the primary school curriculum, obviously. This is going to be in secondary school. Primary school curriculum has not changed for 100 years, all right? That curriculum is about 2 things, tadpoles and cress. That is all primary school is. That is all it'll ever be. 8 years of non-stop tadpole crest propaganda. That's the whole game. That's all it is. What's interesting about this whole LGBT lessons debate, though, is that a lot of the people they put on the news who were meant to be against it were Muslim parents, right? And that's because it goes against their long-held religious beliefs, and fair enough, right? But what that does is it presents a real Sophie's choice for bigots, doesn't it? Right? Because bigots, they don't like to agree with the gay community or the Muslim community. But in this scenario, they can't disagree with one without inadvertently agreeing with the other. But they're completely snookered, the bigots. Right, and that's why I'm led to believe that Muslim parents don't actually care about this. They've just teamed up with the gays on some sort of heist as a way to get pricks on the internet to delete their accounts. This is basically Batman versus Superman all over again. It's ideal. I'm in a relationship. We've been together for 6 years. We're trying to keep it fresh, trying to keep it exciting. Don't want to go and stale. Trying to take all these steps, you know, so that you can keep the spark alive. You know, like my girlfriend, she keeps talking about how she wants to try having sex outside of the relationship. Can I watch? Will he be tall? OK, too much insecurity for this time of day. Fair enough, I understand. Thing is, I can't even... sorry, I'm going down a road here. I don't want to assume anyone's gender. Obviously, you know, we've moved on now. You know, we're in a gender-fluid time. We've moved forward. Right, and there are gender reveal parties. People have gender reveal parties to reveal the gender of the baby before it's born. What happens is, right, a pregnant couple, they invite all their friends and family round, and then they pop a big balloon, and then pink or blue comes out, depending on whether you've booked an American solo singer or a British boy band. Then they sing about whether it's a boy or a girl. It's ridiculous, right? It's offensive, these things. My parents had a gender reveal party for me, which was hurtful because I was 12 at the time. And now we've got the pronouns. We've moved on. We've got the pronouns now. People are telling you they want you to call them by specific pronouns, and I'm on board with that big time. We've got to use the pronouns. Of course we have. It's just people saying, oh, I don't really feel like a he or a him. I don't feel like a she or a her. Please call me they, them. Stuff like that. And then you've got all these older people who are angry with it, saying, no, I'm not going to change the way I speak. That's a huge upheaval to language. It's ridiculous. And I go, look, if it helps, it's not different to a nickname, OK? It's the same. If you meet someone called David, and they say, oh, no, call me Dave, you don't go, no. And I don't want you using the same bathroom as my daughter. Okay? And also, it's helpful. The they-them situation is very helpful, all right, for bluffing in a situation where you've said that you understand who someone is and you don't, right? Basically, I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and my friend said to me, oh, do you like Diplo? Right, and Diplo is the name of a DJ, all right? But I thought Diplo was the name of a band. So he was like, do you like Diplo? And I was like, oh, yeah, they're amazing. And he was like, do you mean he's amazing? It's just one guy. It's not a band. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know we were having this conversation in 1923. Personally, I prefer to wait rather than assuming someone's gender. I'm sure they would very much appreciate that. To answer your question, Diplo is excellent. I was like, mate, Diplo's rubbish. I was like, yeah, he's awful. He's terrible. He's awful. We've got the toilets now, gender-neutral toilets. Now, I'm pretty progressive, you know. I've got a gender-neutral toilet in my house. Pretty progressive guy. I can't be angry at someone for using a certain toilet based on how they identify, given the amount of times that I've identified as a customer. Also, the fact that we still separate gym changing rooms by genders is absolutely absurd when you think about it, okay? Because we now accept that bisexual people exist, that gay people exist, we understand that. Now separating it men and women makes no sense anymore, right? Especially as the gym is already separated into two different groups of people naturally, and they are people who wish there was less of themselves and people who wish there was more of themselves. Those are the two types. They exist in equilibrium, so the square footage of the gym can remain the same at all times. So all you got to do for the change room is have one change room called bigger, one called smaller. That's all you need. It's a perfect solution. The sport is the thing that's an issue. People get upset trans issues are going to affect sport, and people always do the same argument, like, oh, you just have men identifying as a woman so they can win the Olympics. It's ridiculous. That's not the way it is. But they only say that because they're scared, and they always say the same thing. They always go, oh, men identifying as women so they can win the Olympics. What's next? It's like, yeah, don't know. Maybe a woman identifying as a man so she can get paid properly? Or maybe a woman identifying as a man so she can become president. Or maybe a woman identifying as a man so she gets to do the barbecue for once. You know? It's not different as well. If that is your argument, if your argument is that they're just doing that so they can win, that's not different to other loopholes that they use in sport all the time, that these people don't seem to mind. They do it with nationalities constantly. Right, all the time, footballers are like, oh, I don't really want to play for England. Hang on a second, one of my grandparents is Welsh. I'll play for Wales. This isn't different. This is just someone going, oh, I don't really want to play for the men's. Hang on a second, one of my grandparents is a woman. I'll play for the women's. That's all this is.
Technology.
We're embracing technology too much and too rapidly, and it's actually encroaching on our freedom a lot more than people realise. Facebook's the one. Do you remember a while ago, you'd go on Facebook, and there'd be an advert for something you'd Googled a couple of days earlier, and we were all like, what? How do they know? Then we all figured out what the internet and cookies are, and we chilled out, right? But now, you go on Facebook, and there is an advert for something you dreamt. Right? You never expressed an interest in. You've not typed anywhere. You've just been thinking in the back of your mind. Then 2 days later, Facebook pops up like, oh, you're looking for Hall & Oates tickets? You're like, what the hell, Zuckerberg? How do you know that, huh? And I know how he knows. It's because they're listening to us, aren't they, Facebook? They're recording you at all times, then they give you adverts based on what they heard you say in your conversations. Did an experiment to test this theory. For an entire week, whenever I had my laptop, I would open up Facebook and I would say the phrase Domino's Pizza over and over again, 10 times a day. Domino's Pizza, Domino's Pizza. Then after a week, I went on Facebook. Every single advert was for Imodium. They are listening to us, okay? You can't be too careful. The thing about Facebook is they're going to teach Facebook in schools. It's responsible for so much of what's going on in society. People don't even realise it. They're going to teach it in schools. They are. And my son will come running home from school one day and he'll be like, Father, because I'm a priest at this point. He'll be like, Father, oh, what a day we had at school today, Father. We learned all about the Facebook story. What a story. Pray tell, Father. What was it like? What was Facebook like when you were but a boy, when you were a young lad? And I'll be like, Facebook was a CCTV camera we carried around in our own pockets, masquerading as a notice board on which our aunts posted the results of an IQ test they didn't even do well at. It was ridiculous. They didn't even know they'd posted it. It was absurd. The social contract of Facebook is this. We give information about ourselves to a near monopoly that we wouldn't even tell our parents every day, where we're going, who we're with, what we like, what we buy, what we search every day. And in return, a boy I played ultimate frisbee with in Freshers Week and then didn't speak to for 9 years will wish me a happy birthday. That was the whole website. The thing is, though, that there's all automation now, isn't there? We're all into automation now. Everything's a robot now, replacing jobs all the time. It's absolutely disgraceful, but that's where we're at, right? And all the right-wing people, they're all for automation, and they're so hypocritical by doing that, because they're telling us, oh, automation's good. Having all these machines and these robots is good. You know, we support, that's progress. It's like, oh, suddenly the right-wing are interested in progress, are they? Suddenly they're preaching about progress for a robot, which is gender-neutral. It makes no sense to me that they're up for this. Right-wing people will take a gender-neutral bit of progress as long as they can take the batteries out when they get sick of it. And, like, unless sometimes they do gender these things, like Alexa. Right? We've gendered a robot. It's so weird. Right? Alexa's so immoral to own an Alexa. That's a virtual assistant, right? That is something you're telling to carry out tasks for you all the time, and it's a woman, OK? That is absolutely unacceptable to me. How dare you? Don't clap it on your own, mate.
Thank you, Rhys. I appreciate your support.
There we go. But the worst things about the Alexas, right, is that they're listening to us. We know that. They've admitted they're doing it. They're just like Facebook. Right? And that's why I've bought one as a double bluff. That's right. No criminal would own an Alexa. Right, because we know they're recording us, right? So that means I can now commit any crime I want in the future, knowing the police will later search my house, find the Alexa, and go, it can't have been him, we'd already heard about this. What I've done is I put her in the airing cupboard so she can't even hear me. And every now and then I open the door and go, God, I hate crime, and close it again. I love the government so much I could kiss it. Man, I love the police. But then she just starts playing Every Step You Take, I'll Be Watching You. It's creepy, don't do it. It's so scary.
Does your business lack a certain something you can't put your finger on? Maybe that's because every customer-facing employee you have is a machine that you can put your finger on. Robots are tomorrow's news. Retro is very fashionable. Just look at how much everyone dresses like they're in the Skater Boy video. And what could be more retro than hiring a human for your workplace, instead of a pesky old robot? Unreliable, untrustworthy, and frequently break down at random, human beings are here to stay, and some of them smell nice. So hire a human today. A human will appear to empathize with customers. A human won't need a software update every 4 hours. Just a cigarette and a poo. A human will cry when you fire it, making you feel powerful. A human won't scare old people as long as they're white. A human will interpret tone, usually. A human won't have been touched by thousands of customers beforehand, usually. You can pay them off monthly and prices start from, seriously, is that it for a human being? How is that allowed? And go all the way up to, that is too expensive, I'm just going to get a robot instead. Human being employees, like robots, with farts.
All right, that's episode 1. Has anyone got a question? Yes, them.
Do you think you'll always think this?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever change your mind?
No.
Change your mind?
Next time.
The leader is Greta Thunberg. Everyone loves Greta Thunberg. Not me. I hate Greta Thunberg. Gay marriage lacks diversity. Coming over here, taking our jobs. I will never be a vegan. Cannot be a vegan. Cannot be a vegan. Gender's fluid now, isn't it? Human beings are becoming completely obsolete. Now they want to add 70 new gender pronouns to the dictionary. We're not allowed to regret things anymore, change our minds. There's a lot of complaining about nothing. Not learning the culture. Gender neutral. Gay marriage. No one knows what they want with this stuff. These robots, they're not from England. You can't even say it. Don't you care about the planet? Nah, not really. You've only got yourselves to blame. Those are great British baked beans, and you would know that if you were born here.
Do you think you'll ever change your mind?